Hi, my name is Dorothy Marie Caranta, and I'll be presenting Chapter 15 on writing and completing reports and proposals. Next slide. Learning objectives. How to adapt to your audience in reports and proposals, and effective report content which should be included. Also, strengthen your proposal arguments and what is necessary to complete business reports and proposals. Next slide. Writing reports and proposals, adapting to your audience. Be sensitive to your audience's needs, adopt to the you attitude, maintain a strong sense of etiquette. Also, emphasize positivity and use bias-free language. Next slide. Headings. Improve documents readability and identify the online outline of a report. Also, visually indicate a shift from one idea to the next. It helps readers see the relationship of importance. Also, readers can quickly understand the overall meaning of the document by reviewing the headings. You want to use different styles or fonts to identify the hierarchy of your headings and subheadings. It'll help identify what's most important and then what comes next. Next slide. Transitions. They help move from one section to the next and identify key points from other key points. Transitions can be words, sentences, even complete paragraphs. Effective transitions can help readers summarize and remember what they've learned while providing structure to process the new knowledge that they are getting. Next slide. Previews and reviews. Preview sections introduce important topics by helping the reader prepare for upcoming information. They're helpful for complex information, unexpected, or even unfamiliar information. Review sections, they come after the body of the information, summarizing everything that was just covered. They're helpful for absorbing details, keeping track of the bigger picture, and even can provide like a review section or even a comprehensive check at the end of the section. Previews and reviews can be included in sentences, bulleted lists, or even a combination of both formats just to present the information. Next slide. Building strong relationship with your audience. You want to planning to adapt to your style and also language to meet their needs and expectations of your audience. You want to choose content and language that's careful. You don't want to be overly colorful language or anything like that. Make sure you use any company guidelines and follow those if they apply for the communication with public audiences before writing. Also, you're going to want to establish credibility in order for your audience to trust you and actually feel like what you're saying is true. You're going to want to research all sides of the topic and document what you found throughout your research with credible sources. You don't want to use like Wikipedia or anything that someone else could have edited that's not credible. You want to be aware not to set audience expectations too high, just because if they expect too much, you don't want to let them down. You want to keep it pretty neutral, what they're expecting and what you're going to perform. Next slide. Controlling your style and tone. Adjust the formality level to match the situation and your audience's expectations. Informal tones, if acceptable in the situation and culture, they can refer to your readers as you and refer to yourself as I when using informal tones. Formal tones, they're appropriate for longer reports with complex information. Also, if the report is being sent out to other parts of your organization or even outsiders like customers or anything like that, you want to keep it pretty formal. You can use impersonal journalism styles. Also eliminate all reference to you and I. And this will provide a controlled distance between you and the reader. The tone is objective but businesslike and unemotional. You want to avoid jokes, similes, metaphors, and overly colorful language. Just be sure not to come off stiff or dull, and don't inadvertently transition into a passive voice. You want to keep everything pretty equal throughout. Next slide. Drafting report content. You want to review your outline one last time. Verify that the organization you've chosen makes sense given everything that you've learned about the topic so far. Review the wording and of the headings and subheadings to be sure that you have the correct tone that's established. Use informative phrasing for direct tones, also descriptive phrasing for indirect tones. And then take advantage of technology tools for lengthy reports and proposals. That way you can include like links to other subjects or anything like that. Next slide. Report content should include introductions. They help readers understand the context, introduces the subject matter, and why it's important. It'll help preview the main idea, establish tone, and writer's relationship to the audience. So it'll basically set the standards for your report to come. The body, it presents, analyzes, and interprets information that was gathered and supports the conclusion. And then the close is summarizing your key points, emphasizing benefits to suggest changes or any other course of action that you might be suggesting in your report, and to bring all action items into one place and just bring it all together. Next slide. You want to establish credibility. Effective report content is accurate. So information, it's factual and correct. You want to make sure it's complete. It includes all information necessary for the reader to understand the meaning of what your report is saying. You want to make sure the information is balanced. It presents all sides of the issue fairly to include essential information. So even if you don't agree with it, you want to include it in so that way the report's actually balanced and provides all sides. You want to make sure that the information is clear and logical. You're going to want to identify ideas that belong together and organize them in an easily understandable way. Also, you want to document properly. So it'll give credit to your sources that you use to gather all the information from. So you don't want to plagiarize anything. You want to make sure that you're giving credit where credit's due. Next slide. Drafting proposal content. Use the AIDA model to gain attention, build interest, create desire, and motivate action. Strategies to strengthen persuasive arguments include demonstrating your knowledge. You want to show the reader that you have the knowledge and experience to solve the problem. You want to provide concrete information and examples. Provide quantifiable details that'll help just give enough information for what you're proposing in this. Also, you want to research your competition. What alternatives would your audience might choose over you in the proposal? And you want to emphasize why yours is the best possible choice. You want to provide that your audience, your proposal is workable. It must be appropriate and achievable for your audience. So you don't want them to think that they can't actually do what you're suggesting in your proposal. You want to adopt the you attitude. Relate the products and services or personal to the reader and what the reader's exact needs are in the subject. You want to package your proposal attractively, so make sure your proposal actually looks neat. The letter is perfected, inviting, and readable. Next slide. Completing reports and proposals. Tasks to complete while your first draft is being completed. You want to revise the information, evaluate your organization, style, tone, and make sure the ideas are logical. You also want to produce. So improve the readability by structure for report and proposal. Also proofread, which is revising reports and proposals for errors. So you don't want to send out anything that has like spelling or grammatical errors. Also distribute. So put your work out there for everyone to view. Next slide. Producing formal reports and proposals. The number and variety of parts you include in a report depends on the type of report, audience requirements, and organizational expectations and report length. The elements to include will be a synopsis or an abstract. They're brief overviews of key points. They can include they can be informative, which demonstrates the main points as they appear in the text, or descriptive. They describe what the report's actually going to be about. Or you would provide an executive summary. That's a fully developed mini version of the report that you're performing. Next slide. Reports would include prefatory elements such as a cover, title fly, title page, letter of authorization, letter of transmittal, table of contents, lists of illustrations, synopsis, or even executive summary, and then supplemental elements after It's the appendix, bibliography, and index. And then for your proposal, you want to make sure you have a cover, title fly, title page, a copy of reference to the request for proposal, also synopsis or executive summary. And then this one has a letter of transmittal as well. And then the supplemental elements would be appendixes and resumes of key players. So you want to make sure you provide the specific information that you're going to need, whether it's reports or proposals. Next slide. Distributing reports and proposals. Consider spending extra money for professional couriers or packaging delivery services. Just in circumstances where it's kind of further away, you want to make sure you're doing like either FedEx or UPS or anything like that, so that way the person can actually get the report in a timely fashion. In some instances, it is okay to personally deliver it. It allows for the person to actually meet the reader, and it gives it a little bit of a personal touch. Also, for digital distribution, you would provide the documents as a portable document format, so a PDF file, unless it's specified by the reader to do anything otherwise. If your company or client expects you to distribute your report via a web-based content management system, a shared workplace, or some other online location, double check to make sure you've uploaded the correct files to the correct location. You don't want to upload the wrong file and then it's out there for everyone to see that you didn't want. Next slide. Writing requesting for proposals. Remember, it's more than a request. It's an informational report that provides potential bidders with the correct information that they need to create an effective proposal. Be sure to provide all information that you will need in order to create a meaningful response to your request. It should include a combination of company background information on the organization priorities, and such like that. Also, project descriptions, content of the requirements. Then requirements as well, which are expectations for the potential vendors. Decision criteria explains how the decision will be made. Proposal requirements are exactly what is expected in the proposal. And submissions and contact information. So you want to provide information as to who will be contacted and who will be like the main contact point within that company. Next slide. They can help minimize the work involved for everyone and maximize the effectiveness of the request for proposal. They identify your decision criteria and brainstorm the information that you need to measure against the criteria. You don't want to ask for any irrelevant information. You want to give bidders plenty of time to respond. So make sure you get that information to them as soon as possible so that way they can respond. Also, consider establishing an online system for tracking responses automatically. So maybe if you have like an online site that you want to get that information to them, that's perfect. Next slide is my discussion question. What are some ways to strengthen your reports and proposals? And just write them down below in the discussion. And then my works cited is on the last page. And thank you. Have a great day.